Alright. I'm here with my number one thief, Scribbles. Hey, give me that. And we're going to finish up skills. So, the last skill on the list is Thievery. And let's just jump into it. Alright. Thievery is a dexterity-based skill. You are trained in a particular set of skills favored by thieves and miscreants. Seems pretty simple. Things that you could do with that items that will help you with thievery. There is a decent amount, and some more. Ooze pick. Well, that sounds pretty cool. There are some feats. We'll go over those at the end, and then finally, we've got the untrained actions. So, palming an object costs 1 Pac-Man. It's a manipulate, meaning that you need to have digits or tentacles or fingers or whatever the heck you use. Palming a small unattended object without being noticed requires you to roll a single thievery check against the perception DCs of all creatures who are currently observing you. Keeping in mind that observing is a condition, right? You're observed. You take the object whether or not you successfully conceal that you did so. You can typically only palm objects of negligible bulk, though the GM might determine otherwise depending on the situation. Alright. Now notice it says unattended, so you can't just like take something out of somebody's hand or something like that. I believe you could grab somebody's dagger from a sheath, maybe? I don't know. That might not be considered negligible bulk. I'll have to check. On a success, the creature does not notice you palming the object. And then I think stealing is actually taking someone for something. Palming an object is grabbing something off of like a table or a shelf. Yeah. Okay, so palming an object is taking something off of a shelf. Or like Scribbles did, stealing a granola bar out of my backpack. So that is palming an object. If you fail, the creature notices you palming the object, and the GM determines the creature's response. I guess anybody that's tried to steal in a video game knows that feeling. Then we got the actual steal action. It costs 1 Pac-Man and is a manipulate. You try to take a small object from another creature without being noticed. So this is not something laying on a table or a bookshelf. This is something that's on someone else. So you try to take a small object from another creature without being noticed. Typically, you can steal only an object of negligible bulk, and you automatically fail if the creature who has the object is in combat or on guard, but more on that later with feats. Attempt a thievery check to determine if you successfully steal the object. The DC to steal is usually the perception DC of the creature wearing the object. This assumes that the object is worn but not closely guarded, like a loosely carried pouch filled with coins, or an object within, such as a pouch. If the object is in a pocket or similarly protected, you take a -5 penalty to your thievery check. The GM might increase the DC of your check if the nature of the object makes it harder to steal, such as a very small item in a large pack, or a sheet of parchment mixed in with other documents. What about a necklace worn around the neck? I mean, I feel like that'd be pretty hard, right? You might also need to compare your thievery check result against the perception DCs of observers other than the person wearing the object. The GM may increase perception DCs if these observers are distracted. Okay. The GM may increase the perception DCs of these observers if they're distracted. Okay. Success. You steal the item without the bearer noticing, or an observer doesn't see you take or attempt to take the item. Failure. The item's bearer notices your attempt before you can take the object, or an observer sees you take or attempt to take the item. The GM determines the response of any creature who notices your theft. So those are our 2 untrained actions. What about our trained thievery actions? You can, for 2 Pac-Mans, disable a device. This is a manipulate skill action. And some devices will require to use thieves' tools when disabling them. This action allows you to disarm a trap or another complex device. Often, a device requires numerous successes before becoming disabled, depending on its construction and complexity. Thieves' tools are helpful and sometimes even required to disable a device, as determined by the GM, and sometimes the device requires a higher proficiency rank in Thievery to disable it. That's right. They could just gatekeep stuff and say this trap is so complicated that only a master has any chance of disarming it. That's actually in the rules. Critical success. You disable the device, or you achieve 2 successes towards disabling a complex device. You leave no trace of your tampering, and you can rearm the device later if that type of device can be rearmed. A regular success, you disable the device, or you achieve 1 success towards disabling a complex device. Critical failure, you trigger the device. Big fan of that. Picking a lock. For 2 Pac-Mans, you can manipulate using thieves' tools. So, opening a lock without a key is very similar to disabling a device, but the DC of the check is determined by the complexity and construction of the lock you are attempting to pick. Locks and their DCs are found in their description. Locks of higher qualities might require multiple successes to unlock, since otherwise even an unskilled burglar could easily crack the lock by attempting the check until they rolled a nat 20. Huh. If you lack the proper tools, the GM might let you use an improvised pick, which are treated as shoddy tools, depending on the specifics of the lock. Off on a tangent here, goblins have a thing that they can do where they can make shoddy tools that aren't shoddy for them, which is kind of cool. On a critical success, you unlock the lock or achieve 2 successes towards opening a complex lock. You leave no trace of your tampering. On a regular success, you open the lock or you achieve 1 success towards opening a complex lock. And on a critical failure, you break your tools. Fixing them requires using crafting to repair them or else swapping in replacement picks. If we were building a buyer's guide for new characters, replacement picks would definitely be on the list. 3 silver pieces is a decent chunk of change for a starting Pathfinder character, but spending the money to get yourself some thieves tools and then having them break right away and then not having replacements, that blows. Or 3 GP for Infiltrator thieves tools. Infiltrator, I believe, is a higher level, gives a bonus to the check. Alright, that seems pretty simple. What do the Thievery feats have in store for us? Let's take a look. Alright, right off the bat, we got Concealing Legerdemain. I hope that's how you pronounce it. It's a level 1 general skill feat for Thievery from the Advanced Player's Guide. Rather than hide an object somewhere the inspectors won't search, you're skilled at keeping the object on the move, so it's never where they look. When you conceal an object of light bulk or less, you can use Thievery instead of Stealth for your checks and for the DC of an active searcher's perception check. You roll the check only once, but you must continue to use actions to conceal an object throughout the process. That sounds fantastic. I'm going to be honest with you. I really want to play a Pathfinder 2e rogue like real bad, but I'm scared that if I do, I'll never want to play anything else. I almost feel like I have to wait to play it and make sure that I've tried other stuff, but we'll see. Alright, next up is the Pickpocket skill feat. There we go. This is a level 1 general skill feat for Thievery from the core rulebook. You can steal or palm an object that's closely guarded, such as in a pocket, without taking the -5 penalty. You can't steal objects that would be extremely noticeable or time-consuming to remove, like worn shoes, or armor, or actively wielded objects, but you can in Skyrim. Sorry, I've got Skyrim on the brain lately. If you're a master in Thievery, you can attempt to steal from a creature in combat or otherwise on guard. But when doing so, stealing requires 2 manipulate actions instead of 1, and you do take a -5 penalty. Alright. Get that Final Fantasy VI mug going. I guess that's like in a lot of Final Fantasies now, where you beat people up and then you take their items. Subtle Theft is a level 1 general skill feat for Thievery from the core rulebook. When you successfully steal something, observers, creatures other than that creature you stole from, take a -2 circumstance penalty to their perception checks to detect your theft. Additionally, if you first create a diversion using deception, taking a single palm action or steal action doesn't end your undetected condition. Oh my. Alright. I'm like all excited about this, but I can't think of too many times where I've needed to like steal from a bad guy. But maybe I need to change that attitude. I don't know. Let's see. Wary Disarmament. This is a level 2 general skill feat for experts in thievery from the core rulebook. If you trigger a device or set off a trap while disarming it, you gain a +2 circumstance bonus to your AC or saving throw against the trap or device. This applies only to attacks or effects triggered by your failed attempt, not to any later ones, such as additional attack from a complex trap. Alright, I wonder... I don't think this would stack with the rogue ability, but there's a rogue ability that's very similar to this. I wonder if they stack. That'd be pretty cool. Alright, and then we've got Quick Unlock. Alright, this is a level 7 general skill feat for Masters of Thievery from the core rulebook. You can pick a lock using 1 action instead of 2. I know. It's a lot. Listen, apparently there's some real beefy motherfucking locks out there, and you don't want to. And then you're in a combat situation, and like the room's filling with acid, and they're screaming at the rogue to get the door unlocked, but the rogue can only do like so many unlocks per turn, right? Because it's like 2 actions to unlock, so you can only do 1 per turn. But now you can do 3 per turn. I mean, it's actually pretty good if you're in a dungeon dealing with a lot of locks. So, just it is what it is. In Abomination Vaults, if I had a rogue, I would definitely take Quick Unlock. I get the feeling that would come in handy. Legendary Thief, the level 15 feat. This is what I look forward to with every single one. So Legendary Thief, level 15 general skill for Legendary Thieves. You also need to have the Pickpocket feat. This is a general skill. Your ability to steal defies belief. You can attempt to steal something that is actively wielded, or that would be extremely noticeable or time-consuming to remove, like worn shoes or their actual armor. You must do so slowly and carefully, spending at least 1 minute and significantly longer for items that are normally time-consuming to remove, like armor. Throughout this duration, you must have some means of staying hidden, such as the cover of darkness or a bustling crowd. You take a -5 penalty to your thievery check, even if you succeed. The item is extremely prominent, like a suit of plate armor. Onlookers will quickly notice that it's gone after you steal it. There you go. Now you got Skyrim theft. You could just take somebody's clothes. Just, whoop, you don't have clothes anymore. They're mine. Alright. Legendary Thief leads to steal spell. Wait a minute. How come that wasn't on the list? Are these just the basic bitch ones? Oh man, let me see this. Alright, this is a level 16 magical rogue. Oh, these are class feats. Okay. Well, I'm going to look at it anyways. This is a level 16 magical rogue feat. So this must be a class feat. You need to be a legendary thief, and you need to have loner spell, which is another rogue feat. When you use Legendary Thief to steal the impossible, you can steal a prepared spell or spontaneous spell from a foe. The spell is randomly selected from the highest level spells the foe knows that have a target or area to a maximum of 8th level spells. The target loses the appropriate spell slot as if they had cast it themselves. You can cast the spell once within the next 1d4 rounds, after which the fleeting magic fades. This otherwise works the same as casting a loner spell. What? You could steal someone's prepared spell and then cast it? That's incredible. This game is bananas. Okay, so that's it. That's the skills. We have gone over general skills, acrobatics, arcana, athletics, crafting, deception, diplomacy, intimidation, lore, medicine, nature, occultism, performance, religion, society, stealth, survival, and thievery. So what is next? What else do we have to learn? Okay, so this video is only 15 minutes long, which is kind of nice. We are going to focus on learning about afflictions and conditions next. I think that afflictions and conditions is pretty cool. So we're going to learn about those in the next study session, which I don't know when that might be. Probably tomorrow before Abomination Vault starts. And then as we work through that, we'll probably figure out other stuff that we need to learn about. I'm already learning a lot about combat hands-on, so I don't know if we need to read about combat or not, but maybe. We'll see what happens. So, to everybody that hung out during these streams and provided assistance and corrections and all of that is very appreciated. For those of you who caught the VODs on YouTube and directed us towards the right answers and corrected us on our mistakes, thank you for that. This is a very beefy game, but I think it is a very good game, and I'm very excited about learning more about the system and the game. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to stop streaming, and then I'm going to go download the player's guide for Outlaws of, I don't remember the name of it, Alcorrect or something like that. It's like a cowboy adventure. I'm kind of curious about it, so I thought I would read the player's guide for it on stream and get a sense of whether or not I like it. So I'm going to go ahead and end this stream because it's easier for me to just store it that way on the VODs. And then about 5 minutes from now or less, I'll boot up the stream again and we'll talk about that player's guide. All right, so maybe I'll see you then. Otherwise, I will see you next time.